Evening, folks, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are taking a look at Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The glorious return of the Star Wars franchise after three abysmal prequels from the 1990s by George Lucas. It's just a great return to form, and thank God for J.J. Abrams coming in and taking the reins of the Star Wars franchise. And as we know, Star Wars franchise was purchased by Disney, so they just had unlimited budget. They could go absolutely crazy with it. And I'm so glad they did. And I remember seeing that first trailer for The Force Awakens, and it just was like surreal. I was like seeing Han Solo appear in that trail and going, Chewie, we're home. It was sent chills down my spine. I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. The characters that I worshipped as a child, and I loved these great stories from the original trilogy, and it was just, it's like my favorite science fiction movies of all time, which I have said in previous review, I believe. But man, talk about nostalgia. Now let us get into Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So we meet these brand new characters in the franchise, and that's Rey, played by Daisy Ridley. She's the main protagonist in the film. And we also meet Finn, played by John Boyega. He's a very charismatic and welcome addition to the franchise. And all these new characters are really well done and really well portrayed by the actors, which I felt the prequels were severely lacking. The actors were very stiff and wooden and boring, let's be honest. And they had to like make up for that with beating you over the head with CGI and special effects, which this movie actually uses some great special effects, but surprisingly they use a lot of practical effects when they can, anytime they can. But the CGI is so great and so realistic looking that you barely even notice. It's like, wow, it's hard to tell sometimes what's real and what's not. Like, I was really shocked when I read that the character BB-8, the droid, is actually a practical effect. It's not CGI. I was like, that's not CGI? I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. But yes, we meet Daisy Ridley's character, Rey, and she lives on the same planet as Luke Skywalker. Apparently looks like Naboo in the desert. And I guess she's some kind of a smuggler or something, and kind of a farm girl, just like Luke Skywalker's character was in the original trilogy. And she runs into this droid, BB-8, and she finds out from BB-8 that about the First Order and Kylo Ren, who is like a Darth Vader type villain, and he's basically taken over the reins of the Empire, which is now called the First Order. And he's got all the stormtroopers, and he's got the Star Destroyer, and all the same ships like that they had in the Empire. So it's basically he took over the reins of the Empire, and he's keeping it going because he's absolutely obsessed with Darth Vader. He wants to be Darth Vader. To the point where he's wearing the mask with the breathing apparatus and talking with the the robotic like voice through the breathing mechanism. He's got all black clothes just like Darth Vader, and robe and everything. He even has a red sword just like Darth Vader. This guy's like the biggest wannabe Darth Vader. And another thing that pretty much drives the plot is John Boyega's character, Finn, is actually begins the film as a stormtrooper. with the First Order, and when Kylo Ren attacks these the group of resistance and kills a lot of people, and he finds that he can't do it. It's not in his heart to murder. So he decides to go rogue and escape the First Order and try and get away from them, which he does. And then he ends up running into Daisy Ridley's character Rey there, and they form a bond, and they want to get together and take out the First Order. They want to work together, and Rey's character actually meets up with they find the Millennium Falcon, the great Millennium Falcon, and somehow she knows how to fly it. That's the thing about this character, Rey. She's played greatly by Daisy Ridley, but it's kind of strange how everything she does, she already knows how to do. It's like she's good at everything. And it's like, where's this coming from? And you can tell they're going to get more into that in the subsequent sequels, I'm sure, but it's just kind of funny how she's not even really tested much because she's just knows how to do everything. She's a master pilot. When she gets a lightsaber, she masters that. And everything she does, she just already knows how to do. It's like not even a challenge. But of course, when you get the Millennium Falcon, you get Harrison Ford. Han Solo returns. And you see that great scene where Chewie were home. And it's like, wow, the return of Han Solo, this is amazing. And Harrison Ford, I just want to tell you, let's clear the air. Harrison Ford is amazing as Han Solo. He drives this movie. He's the best thing about this movie. It's glorious return. And it's like, wow, he could have just phoned it in just for the paycheck or whatever, but he really plays the character. It's Han Solo. It's like he never left us. It's awesome. Can't say enough about it. Love him. And we get to meet all those great characters from the original trilogy. You get Carrie Fisher returns as Leia. This time she's actually the general of the Resistance, and it's kind of funny. She never used the Force where Luke had it, but she just is satisfied with being a general. She wants to be that part of the war and not actually use the Force. But it is what it is. And we also meet Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill again. We get a lot of those original characters. Chewbacca, played by Peter Mayhew again. It's awesome. You get to see C-3PO again, R2-D2, all those characters that we know and love we saw as a kid. They all return. They're all great. It's amazing. And we also get to meet this new character, Poe Dameron, which I think is a really cool addition to the franchise. He's almost like the new Harrison Ford, like a wisecracking, outlaw type character, but he's a great pilot, just like Han Solo. And it's a really cool thing to see that the series is in good hands because we got these great new characters and they're really played very well by the actors. And that's, I think, is the best thing about the movie. Is not only do we get those wonderful characters back that we grew up with as children, we get these great new characters. Now let's talk about the flaws of the film. Now I've said that it pays great homage to the original trilogy. The only thing is, I think it pays too much homage to the original trilogy because a lot of scenes seem really familiar. Like, wow, they did that in the original trilogy. Especially in New Hope, there's several scenes where you see that's from A New Hope. like they do the cantina scene over again with all the crazy characters in the bar. They're on Naboo again, just like the original. They're on, and again, the fact that Kylo Ren, we find out towards the middle of the film, that he's actually the son of Harrison Ford, Han Solo. And I thought it's kind of derivative of Empire Strikes Back. We get another dramatic family tie things, you know. It's like, couldn't come up with something different than that. And that's another disappointing thing to me, is that they reveal Kylo Ren's identity in the middle of the film. And he takes his mask off, we see who he is, and we find out that he's the son of Han Solo. And it kind of takes away the mystery of it. I would have rather not seen him until maybe the end of the film or in the next film. Just like with the original trilogy, you don't know who Darth Vader is, really. You just think he's a badass villain until you find out in the sequel that he is the father of Luke Skywalker. And that's much more engaging. It's so much more dramatic. But here they give it away right in the middle of the film. So it takes away a lot of the tension and the drama of it. But at any rate, they play it real well. Harrison Ford, you can see when he confronts Kylo Ren, it is really dramatic. And, you know, I won't give away the spoilers of that scene. It's very intense and it's very dramatic, but it's a great scene. Also, the Star Killer base. Come on. It's just the Death Star. One guy even says it in the movie. It's another Death Star. I was like, yeah, we've seen that, what, twice already in the original trilogy? And you couldn't come up with something more original than that, JJ? Come on. And that becomes kind of the premise of the film, is to take down the Star Killer base, just like A New Hope. They find the weakness, and they get in their X-Wing fighters, and have a final battle to take down the Star Killer base. So yeah, a lot of it is derivative of the original trilogy, big time, especially in New Hope. But what's great about it is the special effects are awesome, the action is awesome, and the acting is awesome. And I like that they use a lot of practical effects when they can, you know. It's not straight CGI, but the CGI that they do use is much better than the prequels. It's much more realistic looking. It's awesome. I mean, you really feel it when an X-Wing fighter flies by, or we see the Millennium Falcon fly, do the flips in the air. It's amazing looking. So that's the great thing about what J.J. Abrams brought back to the franchise. Brought back that sense of wonder and those glorious music from the original, and awesome action, the great fighting scenes with the lightsaber battles, and it's great. And another thing with the lightsaber battles, it's a lot more like straight hand to hand. It's not like all this flipping and flying around and stuff. It's pretty straightforward, and I like that. It's a lot more realistic looking. But again, you see Rey's character, you know, she's already good at it, and then even John Boyega grabs a lightsaber, and he's good at it. Which is kind of funny to me, but at any rate, I think it is a great return to form, and it's like Star Wars is back, and we can be excited again. And they're doing a really good job with it. I just hope in the next film they can make it a little more original and take the series where it should go in its natural direction with these new characters and a new storyline. And let's see what happens with Kylo Ren's character after the end there. It's pretty rough what happens to him. So, thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Sci-Fi Corner. Blast off!